Hello there viewers, welcome. This is Strider coming to you today to discuss cheating, specifically in PUBG. Maybe touch a little bit on cheating in FPS shooters in general. So let's get straight into it. Well, I think I'd like to start by maybe stating the obvious. Like if we are to look at this topic, I think we need to establish one or two things first. And the first thing we need to establish is, how do we know if there is any cheating in PUBG or in any game for that matter? So besides let's say, the evidence that we're going to look at or that we're going to offer to say that, look, there's cheating going on, how do we know cheating's going on? Well, the answer is quite simple. The publishers, in our case for PUBG, are Krafton, and they release weekly figures that actually say how many people they ban for cheating. So if we can start, as a basic step to first establish that this is not, an imaginary topic or anything like that, there is most definitely cheating going on. Then we'll move on to the more finer point of, well, is everybody cheating? No, surely not everybody's cheating. But how do we identify genuine people versus people who are using cheats to play the game? Right, so first of all, let's start by looking at the information that we have available to us. This is directly from PUBG's website. As I've mentioned, they publish the figures on a weekly basis. I'm starting at the start of October. As of the time of this recording, today is of course the 26th of October. I'll have to check that. But we're late in October now. But yeah, we're looking at the month of October. This is the very first week, and we had a staggering 128,365 bans for that week. Cheating accounted for nearly 120,000 of those of that grand total. So by and large, these bans were as a result of cheating, not even team killing or just being abusive or whatever. That actually makes a very, very small proportion of what we're going to look at. If we look to the next week, this is the 9th of October up to the 15th, we see a more or less similar figure. There's a significant drop actually. 17,000 less cheaters, let's say, banned in the second week of October, so that seems perhaps somewhat promising. And then in the third week of October, so again the 16th up to the 22nd, that number goes down yet again. So that kind of bodes well, because perhaps it can be deduced that as the cheaters are being caught, so the numbers go down over time, and that would be a fantastic trend. Except the problem is that if we look at a much larger slice of data, to kind of when it came out at the beginning, which is going back a few months now, we'll see that basically what happens is it fluctuates. You have figures of 50,000, 60,000, and then it suddenly goes up to 100,000, 120,000, and it basically does a bit of a seesaw. So unfortunately, that first kind of logical deduction, just looking at the first 3 weeks of October, that logic doesn't stand, because, like I said, the numbers do tend to fluctuate back up and down. So let's have a look at something else. So another number I'd like to look at is simply going to Steam charts. I'd like us to consider for a minute, well, how many people are playing PUBG? Because I mean, if 120,000 people have been banned in 1 week, 103,000 in the second week, that's already nearly 225,000 people. Excuse me. Add the third week, and you're close to 300,000 people banned in the space of 3 weeks. So let's try and make more sense of it in terms of bigger numbers. So PUBG's been around for quite a while now. I think the first release, alpha release or beta release, was somewhere around 2017. We're currently 2023, so 6 years. It's been going on a while, and it's a fantastic game. I love the game. Yes, at the beginning there were many bugs. Sometimes there's still bugs. I think you have that with all kind of game titles nowadays, because there seems to be this tendency or this move in software development for gaming development that lends itself towards we have to release new content either every week or every fortnight or every month or every quarter or season, to keep the game interesting and keep that player base. And I think that is probably true to a great extent. But of course, not all gaming publishers are equal. Let's just leave it at that. But no, I think, to be fair, no, PUBG is really improved in many aspects. Believe it's more stable than it ever used to be. They've fixed a lot of issues around, for example, dead objects on the maps. I don't know if you remember, going back a few years, you'd drive a vehicle and crash into an invisible object, say, for example, or the objects in the game would suddenly do kind of weird and wacky things. So, for example, vehicles that would shoot up into the air like rockets for no apparent reason, things like that. Those things have all been, by and large, been ironed out, and what we have is a fantastic title on our hands, very realistic. I prefer it over the likes of Valorant, for the fact that it's just a bit more realistic, I guess. Look, it's a video game. It's never going to be real life, right? That's not, I don't want to do it in real life. You know what I mean? I don't want to go killing people. But no, for that action, for that adrenaline rush and realism, fantasy, but yet realism, PUBG is certainly something I really enjoy. Prior to this, I played CSGO, and we'll touch on that again as well. CSGO, also FPS shooter, but some different dynamics going on in there. Anyway, let's get back to the numbers. So, all-time peak for PUBG was 3.2 million. That is to say, if I understand this right, that the peak amount of people that played this game at a specific given time was 3.2 million people. Compare that with the current statistic of around 434,813. That was in the last 2 hours. That is the peak number of people at a given time playing the game, and that was today. So that figure for the last 30 days, more or less the same. We're looking at just over 400,000 peak players. The average player base or whatever at most of the time during the day is around 186,000. So okay, so if we look at September, August, July, we can see that actually the player base has slightly been increasing. If we just consider the last 3 months, right? You had 356,000, gone up to 397,000, gone up to 415,000. So there does seem to be a slight increment in the amount of people that are playing PUBG, which is good news. Let's see if I scroll down what happens with the figures. Well, again, similar to the figures we looked at with the weekly bans, you might want to deduce a certain trend. But the minute you do the same over year to kind of use the same deductive reasoning, you suddenly realize with a much larger data set, well, that kind of happens all the time. It goes down, it goes back up. And look at this rise. What happened in January 2022? There was a nearly 60% increase in player base. So it nearly doubled the player base. Was that around the time they made it free to play? Question mark. I don't have that information at hand, but I'm sure one of you lovely people would be willing to put that in the comments. And then as we scroll back down, so if we scroll back down, we can see the game's first release, March 2017, a meager 67,000, but very quickly doubling. And suddenly, where's the big boom? The big boom is somewhere around late 2017, where we see a climb to the stratosphere of 3 million players, which was absolutely brilliant. Okay, but let's look at the last 3 months. For now, we don't want to become data scientists, but last 3 months, I think it's fair to say we're looking at a player base of roughly 400,000 players. Now, if that is true, and we say that 300,000 players have been banned in the space of 3 weeks, and I'm currently in week 4, that means that only 100,000 players are currently playing PUBG. Now, that also is not true, because we know from above that 400,000 players have just, played in the last 2 hours as a peak. So while these bans allegedly are occurring, there doesn't seem to be a massive effect on the figure we see for people logging on and playing. So this basically means one of two things. Option 1, Krafton are lying and the figures that they're publishing are fabricated, which I don't think that's the case. Option B, Krafton are banning those number of people, the figures they release are accurate, but the people who are being banned are signing up just as fast, if not faster, than they are being banned. And I think this is probably the more likely scenario. Right, so I thought let's do something a little different. So I run a Discord server where my friends and I regularly meet on basically every day or every other day to play PUBG. We have a lovely little community going on, nice group of people. If you'd like to join, obviously, just let me know. I'll try and hook you up. But yeah, something we have on our Discord server that I think is going to be quite interesting for this video is many moons ago, I decided to create a room called Hall of Fame. So basically our Hall of Fame is simply where we do a little bit of bragging rights when we get a chicken dinner, or we have, say, particularly lovely games with great big damage, big kills, that sort of thing. We don't post it always, but fairly often, let's say. It's just something to get us a bit excited about, right? But the other room I ended up making was a room called Hall of Shame. Yin and yang. You got to do both sides, right? But Hall of Shame is predominantly taken up by us posting screenshots of people who we suspected of cheating, reported, and then got confirmed. And they more than often get like temporary bans, sometimes permanent bans. But yeah, that is what this is about. That's what this room is about. And the reason I'm showing it to you now is not because of the one that happened today, but just to give you an overall sense of how long this has been going on. So as recent as today, I've posted a picture. It's just I logged in and there was one, so I grab it. I don't even grab it every single time. Sometimes I log on and I might get 3 reports and I just grab one and post one. I should also add that depending on, like, if we go back 6 years, I've either not reported at all, then I started reporting. Maybe I had periods where I did prolific reporting. But I like to think that when I do report that I'm doing so for good reason. And we'll go through my methodology of reporting. And then other times it's tapered off enough, just reduced the times that I report, either because I couldn't be bothered or we just want to play, and so forth and so on. So there's kind of a bit of a fluctuation in that data. But one thing I have, let's say, deduced is that reporting more doesn't always necessarily give you more hits on banning cheaters. But anyway, the point simply I want to carry across here is we've got this Hall of Shame, and let's scroll back in the Hall of Shame and just see, how often do we get confirmed bans. And like I said, this is just me and some friends, and we don't even report every day or every time. Incidentally, here's the figures we were looking at earlier. This was for July, so this was for the week of July. There was 108,000 bans there. So also a bit of discussion going on. But we're now in July 2023. July, here we go. More talk about it. some jokes about it. And really what I want to get at here is that this is what we have to deal with playing PUBG in 2023. So Krafton, this is really a kind of a shout out to you guys over there in South Korea. Please help us. Please help us. Incidentally, I've posted here from chess.com. I play chess as well. And again, this comes back. You know, PUBG is not the only game in which people cheat. People even cheat in chess. In chess, I mean, again, we'll touch on that subject a little later. I just want to keep going here. March, we're still in 2023. 2022, here we go. And I'm going to keep scrolling, and I'm just going to, like, it's so much. I'm just going to keep, so you'll, obviously this list grows as you go back, Look at this, and it's not just by me, it's by other people as well. As you can see, it's posted by other members as well. We are now in 2022, and the jokes coming, and the bands coming, and we're going, and we're going, and we're going. And so I feel almost like I didn't mean, you know, when I made this room, I didn't make it because I knew one day, 6 years or 5 years or 4 years from now, that I'm going to make this video. That was not the purpose of making this room, but I do find it actually really good evidence to demonstrate just what we've had to endure. And I'm really fearful of this game that I've come to absolutely love, because it's getting to the point where it's absolutely ruining the game. It's gotten to the point where I'm having to make this video. So I've made some content in the past, and you'll see that I've never made any content about cheating. And many people have made content about cheating in PUBG and other titles, CSGO, Tarkov, Valorant, you know, all FPS games, whatever. But so yeah, it's not something I've wanted to do, but I feel like, you know, if I don't do this, well, I mean, probably nothing will come from this video, but it's up to you guys, whoever's watching. Share the video, send it to your friends, send it to your mates, get them to click like, get them to comment on the video. Let's get some traction on this video. Let's see if we can get it to Krafton so that they can actually do something more, something better, and maybe we can help them with that. We'll see. I'm still scrolling. I'm in 2020 now. I'm still scrolling, and as I go back in history, Discord is loading in more and more content that it keeps hidden, because obviously we don't look at posts this old. But I can keep going. 2020. I think we're going to go all the way back to when this room was created. There we go. Finally, we reached the very first post, November 27th, 2019. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I started playing in 2018. So yeah, for a full probably year, I didn't do any reporting. Then this, or very little reporting. Then I started this channel, and I kind of got this trend going of posting in here when we did get reports. But yeah, this is basically our experience, and I thought I'd share it with you. So yeah, but you know what? Let's look at some gameplay. Let's look at what it looks like when we see cheaters. Right, so I'm loading into a game from yesterday, which reminded me again. Strider, you're going to make this video. You've got to make this video. So here we are. I'm going to quickly try and find the evidence that I'm after. Oh yes, okay, so it's this guy. So I remember looking at this thinking, okay, look, you're glancing, but what are you glancing at? There's clearly nothing there. Unless, of course, you can see through the walls. And you do that. So granted, I was there for quite a while in front of that window. The issue here is that he's got some branches and stuff in front of him. If I turn this off, let's just go back a little bit just to show you with the X-ray off how hard that is to see. You know, he could have spotted me, sure. The hits were 2 shots, neck and head. Neck and head. So yeah, it was actually the teammate. So that makes me realize that actually both of these players were most likely cheating. Now it could be that he's just a good player, but I assure you, if you've looked through the rest of this footage, you'll see ample circumstantial and definitive evidence that they were in fact cheating. So okay, now he can hear that vehicle. He's going to shoot at that a bit. We're going to get to my evidentiary section in just a minute. Speed this up a little bit quickly. Okay, so now we're going to have some action happen on in the game, and we'll see the other player. This is where this player will now get knocked and flushed. Now, the point to notice here is that this player runs back a little panicked to see if he can do anything, but it's too late basically. Gets a few shots in, too late. What I'd like you to focus on now is the player going back to the position they were in. So he knew that a vehicle had stopped somewhere near those drops. He knew roughly where some of the people, I mean, he has a pretty good idea of where everybody is. A pretty good idea, though, is not an exact idea, and this is the point. So let's have a look what we see now. Okay, so I take it that you saw that pause. He ran up to the hill. His screen was near center to the target. He came up over the hillside to peak and immediately scoped directly on the target, even though the target is behind a rock and not visible. So I'm going to go back just so we can see that one more time. So here we go. Is it too far? It's too far. I'll forward it fast. He goes back. And this is the giveaway. And so what we see here is, look at this, look at this. So now, if we consider that he's using wall axe, we actually know that he can see through these obstacles. He can see both players, and immediately comes over. Even a little pause before he scopes. Look at that, and immediately he's on it. Now he missed the player to the left, which is interesting, but he quickly mows down this one. Right. I mean, so you know, what can we do? So obviously, at the moment, what you can do is you can go and report suspected cheaters. I'm sure I've been reported in the past, mistakenly, mind you, because I obviously don't cheat. Just look at my statistics, and you'd know I don't cheat. And that's basically the biggest thing we can do from the community side of things. It's really up to Krafton and the makers of PUBG to take action on this. And I really hope they do, because if they don't, the player base is going to shrink dramatically in the next 12 months, to be optimistic. And in fact, well, either one of two things are going to happen. The player base is going to shrink, or more and more people might be driven to, you know, feel like they have to cheat, because if they don't cheat, they don't have a chance in the game. The more overwhelmingly you get the feeling that everybody's cheating, you're going to either quit the game, or if you can't beat them, join them sort of mentality. And I would urge players out there not to do that, you know, as tempting as it might seem, because we'd obviously just snowball the effect and eventually cause the death of the game. So Krafton, if you're listening, please don't cause the death of your cash cow, and you know, fix this issue. I'd like to quickly talk about suspicions, let's say, and how we might report. Not everybody has the time to go watch a replay, etc., etc. I've certainly suspected certain players, gone back to the replay, had a look at it, only to conclude that actually they weren't cheating. They were maybe lucky or whatever. And you know, everybody has a lucky day. But what are the telltale signs? So I guess the first thing I would like to say is something that's quite easy to use as and it's certainly not conclusive evidence. It's not even it's not even evidence that's close, shall we say? But it's a clue. The first clue is in the name. Okay, so say for example, you look at the name. My character's name is Strider to you because Strider's already taken. Whoever that imposter is, please give me my name back. But yeah, people would pick names, like Spider, Lion, Lionheart, Choco Taco, Hambino, Dr. Disrespect. The list goes on. Let's say normal names, shall we say, right? Um, when people start picking names like Io, 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 dot, 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 that is suspicious in itself. Like I said, it's not circumstantial even, but it certainly raises a flag in my book. The reason people pick these names is because it's harder to report if you were to have to name them in like a text format, right? If I remember a recent cheater had something like ho 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 as a name, H-O-H-O-H-O. How many H's, how many O's? So that's a clue. And while I'm on that subject, I thought we would look at something else. Well, no, before I get to that, so we're talking about suspicion and reporting people. So there's the gameplay. If something doesn't feel right, another red flag could be looking at the name of the player and seeing if that is some kind of indication. Another indication, very, very tiny indication, might be are they in a clan or not. If they're not in a clan, for me, that might be somewhat of a red flag because if the name is suspicious and they're not in a clan, it might indicate that they could be running cheats because it's a quick account or whatever the case may be. So coming back to the real life experience, if you will, some of these cheats they go for around $50 a month subscription model. I mean, $50 a month is quite a fair amount of money, and going even further on from that, chatting with some friends and stuff, when I mentioned this to them, they said, well, conspiracy theory, but could the companies themselves be in on this? If they're making $50 a month of people buying cheats, I mean, they don't care. Maybe this is the theory. Maybe they don't care what the experience is like for the legitimate gamer, as long as they get money in. And money is the thing that's also something, a thread you need to follow. Because when we look at things like all the amount of streamers that have or people that have turned to streaming as a form of living and earning money, I think it does add an extra dynamic to the whole cheating thing. Because as we now know, many people have been caught online streaming with their cheats on, and subsequently caught out. And I think the reason for that is quite simple. People make it a job, but they can't maybe play a video game, which is fair enough. I mean, not everybody can do everything, right? I can't, I don't know, I'm not good at gardening maybe, but perhaps I'm good at something else like gaming. So, but in the sense of gaming, you could use cheats to ultimately earn money, right? Because you can create a channel and you could appear to be really good, but actually you're running cheats. And I'm not saying all streamers are cheaters. I'm simply saying it's factual. On record, many cheaters have been, sorry, quite an amount of streamers have been caught out to be cheating. So yeah, and I think that's the money element. So follow the money. And same thing can be said for tournaments and things like that, where money's on the line. And we certainly saw this in the case of cheating within the chess world, where money was involved. But I won't go down that track. But yeah, so what's my theory? What's my theory about money, cheating, and skins? Here we go. And the real life experience. And my headset just decided to turn itself off. So the connection between those three things is the following. My theory is that probably somebody who's paying for cheats in the game are dishonest kind of people. If they're dishonest in the game, they're also dishonest in real life. People being dishonest in real life have very little conscience. They might steal, they might cause harm to others, they might even murder, who knows? And because of those lack of morals, they are able to actually amass more money than you and I could because they are not playing by the same rules. And so the psychology that that kind of person has is one of everybody's cheating in life, everybody's a crook. I'm just smarter than them because I don't get caught. That's, what I think the the thinking is that's going on in their head. So they cheat in real life, amassing lots of money. Therefore, they can afford 50, 100, $1,000 a month on a game, shall we say. And so one thing I've noticed is I'll be playing a game of PUBG. Now in PUBG, you might know that you've got these progressive skins that you get from the hideout over here, and we collect tokens, these little yellow cards, to open one crate, or you can pay. That's £18 to open 10 crates. So if you want to open 100, that's £180. And in, I don't know, in say like 100, if you open 100 of these, you might get one or two, or really maybe three weapons if you're very lucky. But that's a lot of money. That's £180 for maybe getting three weapons. So let's have a look at the weapons. So the weapons would look something like this. Once you have it, you need to upgrade these weapons. The long and short of it all is that it can cost you anywhere between, I think, 600 to 1,500 euros to get one of these weapons and upgrade it from its base, skin to this, right? So each one of these levels. Now, one of the things you have with these weapons is this, a kill feed skin. And so while you're playing, something I've noticed is the following. Quite often I'll be playing, and because these kill feed skins are so rare, it always catches my attention when you see it. Excuse me. But what I've also noticed is that very often when people have these kill feed skins, the name comes up once, twice, again, and suddenly a big flag goes off in my mind, because I then identify them as one of those guys. What do I mean? Well, let's run with the logic. They have enough money to pay for cheats. In fact, they have so much money that even if they get banned on this account, they'll just buy the game again, buy these skins again. So they'll just sink, $1,000, $2,000 back into this crap, which at the end of the day, it's crap. It's not real. It's just in a game. It's very nice to have if you play the game a lot like I do and stuff, but it's not real. Yeah. But they'll sink $1,000 into it over and over again. And so when I see this in the game and I see that name come up many times, the likelihood that that's a very good player is very small. There's only so many Tiggletons in the world. There's only so many, H-wins and so on in the world. And obviously, sometimes you do bump into pro players. It does happen. So there's always that chance. But certainly a lot of the people I've had confirmed cheating from our Hall of Shame, as we've seen, have been people that have these weapons fully upgraded. So that's an interesting flag that you might follow. Now, going back to Krafton, there's something that I've not understood. If we go to career, and we go to stats, and we go to leaderboard. Something I've noticed, and let's look at FPP only, is our leaderboard over here. Now, surely one of the starting points for catching cheaters would be to come and have a look at these boards, and maybe that is something that they do. Let's say, for example, we look at this guy. What's it? A bar slowly. Maybe this is a legitimate player. In which case, I apologize for what I'm about to say. This is just a theory. It's not it's not a fact. But why does this person stand out? Okay, so their KD is 9.37. The average damage is 616. And they've played 93 games. So this is not a small amount of games. They've played nearly 100 games, and they achieve nearly 10 kills for every game. Nearly, but it's a very high number. This is the kind of number that is equivalent to, one of the best players in the world, arguably, which I'm going to keep quoting that name, but Tiggleton, for example, right? Um, who might have, I don't know what his KD is, but his KD would be something, off the charts. It would be like 8 or something. This is even higher than that. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see if we can find the same player in season 25. Because if it's such a good player, surely we'll see him in the next season, the previous season, and so on and so forth. So I don't know if you can remember that. I'm going to try AB slowly. AB slowly. Let's go previous season, FPV squad. AB slowly. Maybe he didn't make the first page. AB slowly. I don't see him. So that's weird. How has such a brilliant player never been noticed before? He's not even in the top. Where is he? Do you see him? I don't see him. Look at these names. And so keep in mind what we said earlier about the names being a red flag as well. I don't see him. Look at this name. Oh, well, at least there's demon in it. No, I don't see it. So let's go to season 24. Abi Slowly. What's his name? Let's go back there again. 26. I was looking TPP. That's annoying. So when you go over here, it goes back to that tab. So we've got to go to this tab. So, okay. Latest season, FPP. His name is Aba Slowly. Okay, Aba Slowly. 25. Let's try again. AB Slowly. No. 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 Come on. If he's got a KD of 9, nearly 10, he surely would have been in the previous season, right? I do not see him. I don't see him anywhere. And take my word for it, if you keep trying to do it with a different name, let's say we try to look for, who's this guy? QXE Baby. 8.99, that's pretty good. Maybe that's a legitimate player. Once again, wrong format. Let's go back here. Here we go. Cypher Geek. Oh, Cypher Geek might actually be a real player. That name does ring a bell. This guy, Ulugun Soskjar. I mean, what is that? Let's go with that one. Ulugun. Right, that's 24. Season 25, has he played? Ulugun. That guy's played. Look at this guy. Ulugun. Don't see him. There's a few people with Saw in their name. No. But yeah, surely they would, surely Krafton could just simply come here and say, you know what, in this season so far, we've got these players, and anybody with a KD over, let's say, 8, which is a very high standard, I can assure you. Getting a KD of 5, I mean, let's go to the very bottom of this list, okay? So number 500 on this list has a KD of 3.57. That is a very, very good KD, okay? And this person is top 500 out of what would appear to be 400,000 players. So it's a very, very small percentile of people that have such a large KD. So to have a KD of 9, is extremely good. You must be an amazing player. So if PUBG would simply go and say anybody with a KD over, let's say 6 even, are they on our pro players list? No. Or if they are, exclude them. And if they're not, go and look at their games. Go and look, do they cheat? And if you find just one game, which I'm sure you will, ban them permanently and get them out of the season and remove their stats from the season stats. I mean, if I go back to season 20, for argument's sake, FPP, right? Look at this. Is this a real person? Maybe this is a real person. King Rolodex. Amazing play. Who's this? Irving Cack? Nexus Gaming? That might... Oh, here we go. 10,000 days. Now this, by the way, is a real player and a very, very good player at that. 6.63. Those are more kind of normalized KDs, I would imagine. But yeah, I'm sure if you go through here, you look at this. 16? 16? Are you kidding me? In 66 games, who is this guy? I mean, this person, Captain Lee, he's the best player in the world. This shouldn't even be on here. These people should be stripped, and they should be fixing the rankings accordingly and give it to the real players who play legitimately. Quite shocking, really. Anyway, enough ranting about that. It's an interesting aspect of it. So right, so we've had quite an extensive look at cheating pandemic in PUBG, my thoughts on it, other people's thoughts on it. What can we do? As I've said before, all we can do is report at the moment, although I do feel like it's a bit of a dung beetle exercise of just pushing dung around. We report them, they get investigated, they get banned, they create new accounts and so on. But let's not give up, let's keep up with that, I suppose. What can Krafton do? We've just had a look at the leaderboard, clues that are clearly there for them to follow up on. I don't know why they don't. And the fact that they don't just puts fuel on the conspiracy theory fire that maybe they're in on it. You know, maybe they are the ones selling the cheats. But let's not go there. I have a question. The question is this. When we looked at the stats on the bans, I'd like to know, what is a permanent ban? When they say a permanent ban, is that a Steam VAC ban? Is that a hardware ban, like a MAC address ban? You know, what is it? Because I think having clarity around that would also be useful. If you know the answer to that question, please put it in the comments and let us know. I'm just looking at what else I wanted to mention. Something I've heard rumors of is the fact that they want to introduce two-factor authentication. We already know that there's a mobile number associated with ranked play, and ranked play you have to pay for. So it also stands to reason that playing in ranked you'd see less cheaters, and I think that is the case. In normal play, because it's free to play, you can just create a new account. You can cheat, get banned, create a new account. Cheat, get banned, create a new account, rinse, repeat. With a banned one, they have to pay for it, so the figures should be lower on that. But there's rumors of two-factor authentication, which would mean that when you sign in, you'd have to sign in to the game through Steam as you normally do, then get a message to your device, which is say a mobile phone, and then you have to authenticate on that. Now, should they do that, and I hope they do, it would be fantastic if when they ban somebody, they also ban your device with which you authenticate. So if it's a mobile number, no more text messages, no more things going to your device because you've been banned. And I had another idea on that side of things. When you purchase your account, you use a card. I would go another step beyond that, make it a triple lock ban. The account gets banned, the authentication device gets banned, and the card with which you paid, if that's associated with an account that was banned, I would force the person who has been banned, if they want to create a new account, they cannot use a card that is associated with a banned account. So that means that the person, you know, with a two-factor authentication, they could perhaps go and just get another SIM card, right? And get like, even that's cheap, and you can get digital ones at that. So yeah, make it as hard as possible for them to get new accounts. And that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's painful, I know. It's painful to play and have to deal with these things, but what can we do? Check out the links in the description. Specifically look around the stuff about Waldo Vision, which is artificial intelligence anti-cheating. That would be a fantastic solution if it works. It looks like it's a lot of theory right now, but I think that could be a fantastic solution for getting rid of cheaters in FPS gaming altogether. But you know, besides cheating, enjoy the game, go out there, play, kick butt, and come back soon.